Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. So we're going to look at situations. So interpreting the slope and y-intercept in context of a situation. Okay, let's look at this first example up here. So these are two different examples, one here, one here. Okay, so a business selling hats comes up with an equation above that represent their sales y every week x. They are going to use this equation to make a pitch to investors to get more money to grow their business. So same context we've seen. What is the meaning of the number 100 in this equation? And then what is the meaning of the number 200 in this equation? Okay, so this is all just a backstory, and that's going to help us understand the context. All right, so first we need to identify what is this number? What is this number 100? Okay, well, if I look at my equation over here, the first thing I need to be thinking is y equals mx plus b. Where does that line up? So if I think y equals mx plus b, is the 100 the M or the B? Well, very clearly, it's the B, right? It's the number that's by itself. So first of all, this is not the answer, but I do know that this is the y-intercept, okay? And that also means I'm going to think that is the start. Okay, so these are things you gotta think. So it's the y-intercept, and that means it's the start. Okay. So it's a start. Well, what would that mean in this context? Well, a business is selling hats, comes up with an equation to represent their sales y every week x. Well, where would you start in this context? Where would you start? Well, right, you start at week 0. Okay, we always start at week 0. So we're starting at week 0, right? So then I think, well, okay, what is this y-intercept actually representing? Well, it's how much sales or how much money they have at week 0. So that 100 is at week 0 because that's where our start is, okay? So week 0. So if I put this all together into an answer, the answer would be at week 0, the company has $100. Or you could also say it, when the company started, they had $100. Either of those would work for this one. Okay, now let's go ahead and apply that same idea to what is the meaning of the 200 in this equation. Well, now we're thinking, is that the M or the B? Well, that is very clearly the M, which is our slope. So now I'm thinking slope. Okay. And if I think about slope, that means I'm thinking about my change. Okay. So if we're thinking about this context, sales per week, right? Sales, how much sales there are every week. Well, that means this is our changing amount. Well, that means every week we're changing by $200 in sales. So let's put that all together. And what that would mean is every week the business makes $200 in sales. Okay. So those would be your answers for that. Go ahead and see if you can try one of these, and then we'll move on to this next part.